Another live broadcast from TrueFire Studios. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Frank Vignola. Man, Frank and TrueFire have been collaborating now for, 15 years or so. 30 courses in the can and in the library. For those of you that have been elsewhere, another planet, another territory, Frank has worked with Donald Fagen, Ringo Starr, Madonna, Wynton Marsalis, Tommy Emmanuel. You just came back from Australia with Tommy, right? Hawaii, that's right. Maui, hey Maui. The Boston Pops, the New York Pops, and of course guitar legend Les Paul. Les Paul, in fact, named Vignola to his 5 most admired guitarists for the Wall Street Journal. That was you must have been proud about that. I don't blame you. You played, by last count anyway, easily over 1,000 gigs over the last couple of years all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
The bags under my eyes.
I know. So I have a feeling most of the folks that are tuned in know very well who you are and admire you as we do. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to do a lot of playing today. So take us out on this. Fade out. Nice ending chord. 6/9 maybe, something like that. There you go. Frankie, welcome back, man.
Pleasure. It's great to be back, really.
So we did another 2 courses. Soloing. Companion courses to the Rhythm Fakebook. Yeah. We have, 2 jazz rhythm guitar fakebooks. Mm-hmm. Each fakebook has 30 jazz standards, rhythm only. Mm-hmm. You play, I think, 3 courses or 2 courses for the longer, slower forms, right?
Yeah, basically how I would comp on the bandstand is played with these great rhythm tracks. Yeah.
So across the 2 volumes, we have 60 super popular jazz standards that people can learn how to comp. True to form, your first chorus is usually very accessible and, in fact, very similar to the way that you would play, in a live situation.
Start simple.
And then you start to embellish, maybe more sophisticated rhythm patterns, more sophisticated voicings. So both of those courses have been very popular, and we've both gotten like literally hundreds of requests about soloing companions to those courses, right? So how would one approach soloing over these jazz standards? And we've done 2 of them this week. And I have to share with folks, you were in, we had a cancellation this week.
Really?
Yes, you know this. We had a cancellation last minute. You were in Honolulu.
About to
Maui.
leave. About to leave
Okay.
for Maui.
About to leave. You were going to fly back home. And we said, Frank, is there any way you can come into the studio? You were booked here February and still going to come in February, but can you please come in and fill these dates? And so was it the day before yesterday? You've been here 2 days. Day before yesterday, flew. Tell them what you did to get here.
From Honolulu to Newark Airport, nonstop, 10 hours. Got in about 7 in the morning. Then I had a show in the afternoon in New Jersey, right near the airport, so the timing couldn't have been better, I'll tell you that. Went and did the show, got back to the airport, got on the plane, came down here.
Yeah. Got in late at night.
Yeah,
And
no
then,
problem.
And then we started bright and early in the morning.
Listen, I love to do this, and I love the intensity of it, and I just love what you guys do here at TrueFire.
Thank you, man.
That's why I'm always,
Well,
here when you ask, because it's a win-win for
and
me
you
as
know,
well.
you know how we feel about you as well.
And just it's always great to see everyone here too.
So also yesterday we launched one of the projects from your last sessions here.
Which I have to confess, when I
Yes.
got my little text saying it's time to get your assets in gear, which I love,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, which one did I do?
I
And then I
know.
looked, I said, oh, that's right, we did a chord melody one.
The Jazz Chord
Yeah.
Melody Playbook.
Right.
So before we dig into the soloing Fakebook companions to the rhythm, let's, you do a lot of chord melody. We did that 1, 2, 3 chord melody many, many years ago, very popular. And it was, it was for someone that was really just kind of beginning to play chord melody. And so we said, why don't you come back and do something maybe up a level for that 201 player who gets it, can play chords, can handle some rhythmic figures and some single lines, and show us how you would approach learning a chord melody arrangement. And you say, perfect, I have a system. So
Well, the
tell us what your
system was
system is.
developed through my channel. I have people, I put up a chord melody arrangement every month, and people are like, well, how do you come up with that? So I had to really develop a way to teach people a system.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, a good way is to say, take the melody to say Avalon. Right? First you have to know the melody, of course, and then you just put one other note, the root bass note. So the chords is C7th, and the melody is. So if you just play the root bass note, C, and then play the melody. Now, of course, I have to finger it a little differently. And then, and that's an F, so you put the F bass. Out of tempo. Don't let the tempo rush you along.
Okay.
C7th. Back to F. Now D7th. So what's the root note? D.
D.
Up. G. B flat, minor, F, D, 7th, G minor, C 7th, F. Just a good way to get started, like a 2-part invention. Then, once you're comfortable with that, you add one other note, usually a chord tone. So, you hear that? It starts to fill out.
Nice.
So we'll add the third. Root, another note, the 5th, and the melody. There's the 7th again, or we can add the 5th. 7th and melody, root 5th melody, root 7th melody. Right. D, we have the, we'll put a D and a C, which is the 7th. We'll put the root, bass, and the 3rd. Right, and then if we were going to kind of go into a version of it,
Beautiful.
right, so you see how you can develop it into looking at the fingerboard and seeing the outline. And then if you get used to certain versions or certain notes to put in with the melody, you could start to form a little way of playing these chord melodies.
That's, well, Frank mentioned his channel, which on TrueFire, if you go to the nav bar, look under channels, you'll find Frank Vignola's Jazz Studio channel, which is only, what is it, $10 a month?
Yeah, there's 1,100 videos.
1,100 videos.
30 or 40 each
your
month.
jazz song learning system, your chord melody learning system, and this is all self-published content from your own home studio.
And it's great. Video question and answer.
Exclusive content. Yeah. None of the courses are replicated there, and yet you'll kind of connect to a lot of the topics both ways. What we loved about this system is, if you look at other jazz chord melody learning systems, they have you learning complicated voicings and trying to fit voicings to fit into the melody note.
Or chord grids, where to put your fingers.
Right,
and,
exactly.
You're never really learning how to create your own chord melody.
And the beautiful part about this course that we just launched yesterday, the Jazz Chord Melody Playbook, is whatever level you're at, and pretty much anybody can do the bass note and the melody thing. That'll get you right in the game. And then you do a version where you're just adding some basic chord tones and shapes to it. And then you step it up another version. By the time we get to the third version for each of these tunes, it literally is just how you play it on the bandstand.
Correct.
So we needed to talk about that because it just launched yesterday.
I'm very happy. Thank you.
And because if you look underneath the video, guys, you'll see a few things. One is there's a 25% promo code called Frank Live. That's pretty creative.
That's
I don't know
nice.
who came up with that. No, I don't think I'd even be capable of doing that. But if you use Frank Live today or anytime within the next 48 hours, you can get 25% off any of Frank's courses from way back. When did we do our first one?
Wow.
1902, something like that.
1902,
right?
That's correct.
So there's a very, very large Frank Vignola library across all
Vamps,
levels.
Jams, and Improvisations. That was the name of it.
Back in the day.
Wow.
You're really going back now.
I know. You guys were on the floor with cameras. You remember that?
God,
Everybody, we had to shut the air
conditioner off.
And right. In Florida in the summer.
Oh my God. Anyway, use that code on any, you can fill your card up. I can be gratuitously advertising here.
What the heck? I
It's
need
a
the
free
money.
broadcast, okay? But you can pick up this brand new course from Frank, ready to download today, the Jazz Chord Melody Playbook. And of course, you're going to also be able to order or pre-order the 2 courses we're going to talk about now, okay? The other thing you'll find underneath the video is a link to today's trivia question.
Oh.
And today's Frank Vignola trivia question, which correct answer could be worth $100 gift card. You can buy a lot of Frank Vignola courses with that.
Can I answer?
You cannot answer. Okay. The question is, with what legendary artist did Frank play with every Monday night in New York City for 5 years? Do you remember those days?
Of course, just about
big.
every night.
Every night. What legendary artist did Frank play with every Monday night in New York City? Do not answer that question. Don't put it in the chat there, because then everyone will know the answer. And look, somebody already did that. Guess who did that? Gil Paris.
Of course.
Thanks, Gil. Okay. Well, thank you, Gil.
Wonderful player and teacher as well.
All right. Actually, Gil wasn't the only one. We've got a ton of people in.
All guitar players,
All
I
right,
assume.
guys, listen. Yep, the correct answer is Les Paul.
It
but
is?
Meanwhile,
Oh.
yeah, Les Paul. You remember that? So you have to click the link, answer the question in the link. Now that you know what the correct answer is, and we'll pick somebody and give you a $100 gift card.
You know, a lot of video now and pictures are coming up that Les's guy who taped him every week.
Yeah.
It's coming up on YouTube and Facebook, and it's so much fun to see these pictures and hear video of Les and I like playing a song together. And
Yeah.
it's like somehow it seems so surreal
I
that,
know.
because in the moment, I appreciated it.
Yeah.
But as the years go on, it's like, whoa.
I know.
I can't believe that I actually had that experience
I
every
know.
week.
Every single week. He
Every
had a big
week.
influence on your playing too, didn't
Oh, tone. You try to match Les Paul's tone, dude. Good luck.
I know.
It taught me a tremendous amount about just tone, what you want your tone to be
Yeah.
like. Every week. If I got there at 4 in the afternoon, he'd be
Yeah.
up there practicing, working with pedals
Really?
for hours before sound check. Just amazing. And his tone was always perfect.
Yeah, he
Really
quite a
incredible.
contribution, I'll tell you.
But
Okay.
you know, Brad, he
Yes.
knew what he wanted his tone to be like. And a lot of students ask me like, oh, what pickup should I get? What amp should I play through? First of all, you have to know what you want to sound like. Then you could start checking out different things.
Yeah. How much, what's your perspective on how much is electronics and guitar kind of versus what's in the hands?
It's in the hands because people who can pick up any guitar and sound good know what tone they want to get.
Okay.
It's already in my head what tone I need to get and I want to get. So therefore, you squeeze it out. And if it's really that bad of an instrument, then, it's not going to work. But
So, talk about that. Like, you have done a lot of courses here on your Thorell, right? And you've done a lot on this D'Angelico guitar, which you don't play other than being here in the
down
studio.
here. Well, it's a very special guitar, and I love the fingerboard. It's so good for teaching.
Yeah.
Right now I put Sharpie.
Yeah. I'm
on
trying to
my
remember, does your Thorell have
No, but it
so
looks
Tommy
like
makes you put little sticky
No, but what I do
dots?
is Sharpie, the
You
silver
do?
Sharpie, and I make them on there. And, and it's
And-
funny because people have bought their guitars and said, "Oh, I thought it comes with the markers." I'm like, "No, comes with a
It comes
Sharpie
with a
pen."
Sharpie. Let's talk about these 2 new courses, okay? So ever since we came out with the Rhythm Fakebook 1, people started asking, okay, great, And we even told folks that
We did.
the Fakebook, the Rhythm Fakebooks are great, once you learn how to comp through these standards, go ahead and solo over them. But of course, they want you to help guide them. So
Of course.
let's talk about volume 1 first, and
Okay.
let's give folks an example, okay?
Okay.
In fact, let's just play an example. What's
Okay,
How
well, I
about-
think all of me we were going to play along with.
Okay,
And,
let's do
one,
that.
One thing you could do, maybe I'll talk as I play.
yeah. Okay.
is use chord tones. Like say
Yeah.
if you hit the root note of every chord.
So, and you approach this very much, true to form, right? You start off with the first chorus is
Simple.
always kind of straight, very simple.
Just play the root,
but
of
still
every
sweet.
correct.
And then you play it as if you would on the bandstand.
Right. Kind of teaching in the second chorus how to connect the chord tones.
Yeah.
And then the third chorus, like playing as if I was on a recording or the bandstand, but still having the plan.
Yeah.
Because you need a plan sometimes when you improvise.
So let's have Tommy roll the track.
Okay.
Play through it, talk through it, whatever you want to do with it.
First chorus, we'll keep it simple and just
Okay.
connect the roots and
Deal.
use a little jazz rhythm, some offbeats.
Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2.
So the first chord C. So we play a C. Then to E. Now to A, the Italian note. To D. Up to E. Another E. A. D minor, G. To C. Again, just using little rhythms. Going to A. D. Now F. F for F minor. To C. Down to A. D. Now the second chorus, I'm going to connect the roots using neighboring tones, meaning 1 or 2 notes away. You could also use scales and chromatics. C, so here's E, we'll move chromatically. Up to A. Scale. Now we're using F. So if I'm going to play a solo, you see that? I ended on E. Going to E. A. D. The blues. Without the blues, there's no jazz.
Pretty well done, and amazing that you can talk and play at the same time.
Oh, yeah, it's tough to do, but you notice I would stop and then talk. But now the blues, that's a very interesting subject because a lot of guitarists play the blues.
Yeah.
And they think when they learn jazz, I can't, I got to use all this other stuff. No, the blues.
Let's do this because you always put a little blues in.
Every solo I try to
Tommy,
put
roll the track again and just do a chorus bluesy.
Okay, now let me just do a little explanation
Go
here.
ahead.
C. E. If you just take your chord forms, right? That's the blues right there.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to just be playing C blues, But whenever you're on those last 8 measures of a tune, the 4 chord, you see how all through those chords
Yeah,
the
it's
blues
crazy.
works?
Yeah.
A lot of people think, oh, I got to go to each chord.
No,
Not
I know.
really.
You know, remember Jazz Up the Blues?
Yes.
We did that, I don't know, 12 years ago.
That was our most successful
we
course,
did
I
that
think.
for all those blues players. And there's not a blues player on the planet that doesn't want to jazz up their blues.
Correct.
Even though it was old, even though it was done in the old studio.
Right.
And I think it's SD 4.3.
No, the
that
latest at the
course,
time,
to this
right?
day, is always in our top ranked courses. Jazz Up Your Blues.
Yeah.
Use that promo code on that. You will definitely not go wrong. But can we roll this track again and you do a bluesy take on this?
Okay, right.
Okay.
One, two, one, two, three.
BB King.
Yeah. Nice. Beautiful. Yeah, we put a link in the chat to Jazz Up Your Blues. You know, we've done so many really great projects together. That one still stands out in my mind. And that solo, after you take us through a whole bunch of techniques to jazz up your blues, easily to take what you already know and just jazz it up a little bit. And then the solo that you take at the end, remember we had that nice live track bass.
Yeah, yes. With,
That was
Rudy
a
and Mickey.
milestone TrueFire course and Frank Vignola course. Phenomenal. Let's do some shout outs. Okay. First and foremost,
Yes.
Jim Tenbrook. How are you, man? Thank you for tuning in. You met Jim yesterday.
I did, and you know,
New
ironically, that is
big member of the TrueFire family.
the name
Came
of
in.
my cousin.
Is it really?
Jim Tenbrock.
No
I saw it on
kidding.
the board. I'm like, I haven't seen him in years.
Fly fisherman, so he bonded right away with Jeff Sheets. Loves dogs, of course. We all love dogs here. Jim, thank you for tuning in. Jim promised that he would tune in today and that he would have it on the speaker for everybody in the office. So, hello. Say hello to everybody
Hi,
in the
Jim
office.
and everybody in the office. Hello.
Thanks for tuning
Great
in, Jim.
to see you all.
Also, yesterday, Scott Peters was in, but he had to fly back, another new member and partner of the TrueFire family. He's having surgery tomorrow, so wish him well. Shoulder
please.
surgery,
Yeah,
nothing
well,
too serious.
I had a broken shoulder in 2 spots, and it took a while, but physical therapy is your friend.
Yes.
As much as it hurts, it
and
really
I
helps.
think meds helped just a little bit. I
Well,
know you
I
got
didn't
off
take
them
any
really.
meds. I
Never?
didn't-
Not
I
even?
only took Advil. I didn't. I was
You're good.
afraid of all that stuff.
You're a good man. And we have Anita and David from Suave.
All right.
They're saying they're a shout out from them. They tune in a lot. There you go. Thanks, Anita and David, for tuning in. But you've got fans from, let's see, Southern California, Netherlands, Red Bank, New Jersey, Southern Germany, Belgium, West Indies,
Wow.
Canada, New York, of course,
Hey.
Chicago, of course, San Diego, Vienna, Austria, Calgary, Saskatchewan, Toronto, Las Vegas, Armenia, Connecticut, Idaho, Melbourne, Australia, Rome, Italy. Could you do that little Italian thing again? Beautiful. Leicester, England, Arkansas, Indianapolis, Vancouver, one of my favorite spots on the planet.
Yes.
Yorkshire, Chesapeake, Virginia, Honolulu, Austin, Buffalo, Orlando, our Arvika, Sweden.
Wow, that's amazing.
Ontario, Scottsdale, Arizona,
This
Denmark.
internet thing's
and
taking off, Brad.
Rio de Janeiro. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Thanks to, I think it was Al Gore. Don't we have Al Gore to thank for the internet?
course.
Yeah, of course. Thank you all. If we haven't shouted out to you, then please post where you're chimed or tuned in from, and we'll shout back out to you. Oh, Tim Lurch just signed. Do you know Tim Lurch?
No.
Unbelievable. Just an unbelievable human being, a great player. We're going to connect you two guys.
Okay,
You would
where
love
does he
this
live?
guy. You know, I'm not sure where he lives. Tim, where do you live? But we did a project with him recently. He's coming back in very soon. We want to do more with him. Just phenomenal. Just phenomenal guy. We're going to connect you.
Great.
Let's do another tune from Volume 1.
Okay.
How about Blue Bossa? Everybody loves Blue Bossa.
And this was about the blues, so
There you
we'll
go.
play some Blue Bossa.
Cool.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Octaves. That's such a
Beautiful.
great progression. It's so much fun to play on.
It's beautiful. And
Yeah, classic.
again, I just have to keep kind of reinforcing how, you know, they're great to listen to, but the way you present the curriculum, and every one of these has a breakdown, where you step them
and
through
a very logical sequence of
right.
how I got
mean, you
there.
really help people, you know, get in the game and then take the game up a couple of levels. And of course, you know, certainly when I was coming up, I think you as well, we didn't have tab. We didn't have the, you know, like the video
record.
sync tab thing that we have today.
One record for a
Right.
month.
So all of these, you can sync the tab and notation, which appears below the screen, to Frank's video. You can slow it down. You can loop it. You can
Wow.
display the fretboard.
I didn't even know that.
All that. Can you imagine if you had that when you were
I remember I used
12
to
years
put
old?
the 33 record on
Yeah.
speed 16 and figure out what Django was doing.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
Play a
crazy.
Django lick.
2 fingers. That's one of his tunes.
Yeah?
Then diminished. All with 2 fingers. You see that?
Yeah.
I can't do it. You see
Now,
that?
when
All
you
with
were
2
learning
fingers.
Django, were you trying to do it with 2 fingers?
No,
or
no.
Okay.
No.
No.
But this one, obviously,
Yeah.
my guitar teacher. That's one of the first things he showed me.
Yeah?
He's like, this guy Django Reinhardt, he only had 2 fingers. He wrote a song, and that's what I would practice. It's hilarious.
That's great.
What a great teacher. He just passed away, too. God rest his soul.
You know, I love just being able to call out anything and you just, boom, you do it. So I'm going to, you know how much I love Tico Tico.
Yes.
Don't play it now.
All right.
But if I can get folks to get us over 100 thumbs up on this video,
Okay.
can I twist your arm to play that again for us?
Anytime. It's always
All right.
a good challenge for me. To be,
It is
yeah.
a challenge, but it's one of my favorite Frank
It's a great
Vignola
melody.
things.
Do you believe that was written in 1916?
No, it sounds so fresh to this day. I don't know if you guys know the tune that we're talking about, but if you help me, oh my God, we're already over. We went, boom, thank you. We're at
That's it?
117.
I have to play it,
In
you
the
mean?
moment
You told me
gonna-
there's no way we would get there.
Do you want to play it right now?
You know what? The last time I was in Europe, how
Yeah.
fresh this song is, every train station, they would have a
No.
screen come up with advertising, and
Really?
what would come on?
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
No.
Yeah,
Do you-
wasn't
well,
my version.
Listen, we got over 100 so quickly.
Okay.
Let's play it now. Yeah, thank you, Frank.
So
And,
tough, that tune. I've been practicing it for
I
25
know.
years. I still can't
well,
get
listen, you were a little worried about playing it on this guitar versus the acoustic.
It doesn't
but
matter what
I-
guitar.
I
That
think-
was just a bad
I think
excuse.
based on the feedback here, everyone is very happy, and I thank you very much for giving
it.
us
It makes
those
me
thumbs
smile
ups,
every
man.
time I play that song, though.
Let's see. Following up to Tim Lurch, he's out of Seattle. So when
Oh,
you're in Seattle,
I'll
or
see him
Tim,
in February.
in February,
Yes.
Tim, Frank's going to be there.
4th and
Shout out
5th.
to us. 4th and 5th of February.
Yeah,
right?
Jazz Alley.
Jazz
Yep,
Alley.
with Martin Taylor and I.
Oh,
Our
really?
first duo performance.
Okay, you've got to meet him. He's just phenomenal cat. Also, Jeff On. You know Jeff, right?
Yes.
Out of
Baltimore,
I think,
Townsend,
Baltimore, yeah.
somewhere around there.
Jeff
around
is
the loop.
prob-
He lives off the loop.
He does. He is likely, if he's not our first TrueFire member, he's our 7th.
And do you know he has every course cataloged in his basement
Does he really?
just perfectly. It's amazing.
He is
What a collection.
very, very passionate. He's a great
And a
player.
good
He's a
player.
great teacher.
Great
He
entertainer.
puts on a lot of great shows in the area, and he's come out to Suave with us several times. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's a great cat. Thank you, Jeff, for tuning in.
And he flies aircraft really low to the ground, really fast.
Really fast.
Yes.
All right. So at your own risk, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Let's play another tune. Let's
Okay.
do All the Things.
All right,
This
good.
is from the jazz
Soloing.
standard, so the soloing Fakebook, a
I'm gonna-
companion to the rhythm
I'm
Fakebook.
going to connect thirds.
Okay.
a third of every chord.
Okay.
And that's kind of the melody. It's interesting.
Yeah.
How these methods aren't just, pulled out of a
Random.
hat.
Yeah.
These are methods that great composers use, like
Yeah.
Jerome Kern.
Okay.
So I will connect the thirds, and you'll hear the melody in it.
Okay. Great. Tommy?
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Connecting thirds, one of the greatest jazz tunes ever written.
The melody are the thirds of the prevailing
Correct.
chords that you're connecting.
Correct. And that's exactly what the melody is, until the bridge. Blues. It always works. 5 chord to a 1 chord. Yeah,
Sweet, man.
sweet.
You ready for a couple of questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. First, though, a shout out to new folks that have shouted out to us. So say hey to your friends from Palo Alto,
Great. Hello.
New Zealand, West Palm
Oh,
Beach,
New
Atlanta,
Zealand.
San Jose, Louisiana, Wisconsin,
Auckland.
Maryland, Naples, Italy, Paris, France, Switzerland, Guatemala, Sweden, and Ireland.
Sounds like my tour schedule coming up.
I know. Don't you have a camp in
Yeah,
Ireland?
Camp
soon?
Ireland 2020. It's not announced yet. In a couple of days, it'll
Mm-hmm.
be announced. It's going to be in a castle near Limerick.
Nice.
Only taking 20 people.
Yeah.
And then we're going to also, while we're over there, afterwards, we're going to play the Cork Jazz Festival.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a real cool
It
time.
can be incredible. Could you possibly need a roadie for that
Hey,
trip, maybe?
you're always welcome. You're always welcome.
Man, I'd love to
I
make
love
that one.
Ireland, too. Ireland is one
I
of my
know.
favorite countries.
I know
It's so
you and
beautiful
Allie
there.
have a plan to open up TrueFire of Ireland. So while you're over there, find some, what do they call them, boots on the ground. Find
Okay.
somebody that can open up a little satellite thing for us.
Nigel is his name.
Let's get with Nigel then.
Okay.
Okay. Frank, could you please give us, this is Neil, wants to know, could you give us some technique tips on playing octaves?
Oh, that's a great question. I think first we have to find a melody that we can play octaves with. And one that I think is a good one is, right, Summertime. And the way you start is, don't worry about the timing. Think about the tone and play each note very clearly. right? You hear how each of those was very clean. Now, you hear that little slide? Wes used to do that. Right? Those little slides and those little 2 notes per melody instead of 1. You see that little ba do da da? It's almost like a big band. It's almost
Talk
like
about what you're doing with the right hand and muting on the left. You know, you're
the right hand. I tell you, it's tricky with the right hand because everybody has a different technique in the right hand. I've played with every guitar player on the planet, and everyone has a different technique. So it's really hard. I mean, I kind of throw my hand at it.
And muting notes with the left hand?
No. Well, I mean, I'm naturally in between this one. You got to mute that, but it naturally happens with kind of the meat of the finger.
Yeah.
So that's what I kind of do is kind of throw my hand at it, but I'm kind of throwing it into the guitar. I'm not going so perpendicular. Like if the strings weren't there, I would hit the top of the guitar.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
You can get that going even.
Nice. Good tips, man.
You see, that's kind of going like this. So this is really...
So, however their right hand technique is, that rhythmic thing
that
is pretty
rhythmic thing,
important.
even if you're going like this, if you're keeping this going.
Are you muting anything with the right hand?
Well,
there,
now I
or
am.
Are you behind
because,
the bridge?
Yeah, a lot of people, hold their hand like this or like this or like this.
Yeah.
However you do it, if you can get that 8th note thing going, not that you're going to be doing that for everything, you're going to really be doing this and then...
Nice.
You see what I mean? It's like you got to get your whole body really into that
Very
feel.
good.
So.
Great answer, man. Here's another question for you. PKD asks, what do you play over dominant chords? He's using mixolydian, but he hear people using diminished scales a lot. How do you approach a dominant
there's
chord?
really, I kind of put this as there's 5 tonalities to a dominant chord. This is on my channel, by the way. I think it's one of the free videos, actually.
A popular
So
one, too.
if we have G7th, we have our mixolydian. And I suggest people make musical ideas with the scale, not just play the scale. Right? That was all mixolydian. Again, make musical ideas with these scales, just don't play the scales. The next one I use is the flat 9. Right? And that is the G, B, D, F. These are the notes of the dominant 7th. And we're adding the raised root, or the flat 9. So first we get the arpeggio, which is a 5-note arpeggio. Caravan is based on this flat 9 sound. Okay, then we add the scale, which is the mixolydian of the C harmonic minor. If we started on the G note, you have your G7 flat 9 scale. Okay, now you have your diminished. Which is based on whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, etc. Okay, if we start this on the G, right, that will be the half step. Right, and if you're using a diminished that it doesn't have a G in it. Right, but if we add the G, it becomes very similar to the flat 9. But that, and that are in the diminished. Okay, so we make some ideas. Then you can have the minor third patterns. That's number 3. Number 4, whole tone. A 6-note scale, a hexatonic scale. If we look at it on one string, which I suggest you do, play all your scales on one string moving horizontally, you get a better view of them. Try to make some musical ideas with the tonality. The 5th is the superlocrian, which is half diminished and then half whole tone. And back to diminished. 5 dominant tonalities that work really well. Now we have to get used to those sounds. So this is why I suggest make yourself a little G7 play-along track and use each of the tonalities, trying to make some musical ideas.
What a great lesson. And, I know that that's a question you get on the channel.
Well, that's why I developed...
And you answer it in great detail.
Correct, and that's why I developed these, because what's great about the channel is you could really dig into one micro little topic.
Yeah, and this is a really good point, like why channels, why courses, Courses, the courses we do with Frank are, go kind of deep on a wider topic, soloing, rhythm, improvisation, chord melody, where the channel allows Frank to address one particular question that might not hold up that well across a whole course, but are important questions, and Frank gives you the answer. So I'm hoping...
And ironically, that was the same question that came into the channel. So I was able to really think about it, video it, write it out, and give a good whole answer.
So, Tommy, I don't know if you could get a visual on Frank's channel. On TrueFire. Again, you go to our top nav bar, look at channels, and go find Frank. But Ali, maybe you can post a link direct to Frank's Jazz Studio channel. It's $10 a month. There are over 1,000 videos. Tabs, notation,
I love it.
Tracks.
Workouts. I'm working on Slonimsky exercises for guitar.
It's all about, here, they're showing it right there.
How do I look?
$10 a month. Try it for a month. You don't like it, you give it up, but I'll warn you.
You will get something from it.
You will not stop.
You will get something
from it. He has hundreds and hundreds of people from all around the world.
Beginners, too. There's a whole beginning section to get you started playing songs.
Exactly, which ties to the next question, but I wanted to point out that you, despite having hundreds and hundreds of students in there, every question that somebody asks, you have a little section, you answer every question. Whatever the question is, whatever your question is, you'll get an answer from Frank. He also offers actually online private lessons.
Ongoing.
And you're going to see, if you go to Frank's website, you'll see all of the little, he does little jams and little workshops, 10 people at a time. A passionate educator you are, man. Yeah. So here's a great setup question to, like the Fakebooks and the channel and the jazz song learning system. Robert Harrison wants to know, what 10 songs should I learn as a beginner so that I can begin to play with other folks?
All 200 of them. No, I would say Autumn Leaves, all blues, the C Jam blues, all the things you are, blue bossa. I mean, a lot of the ones we covered in the fake book, really.
That was
I mean,
the
it's,
setup.
Oh,
if you
okay,
get-
duh. Hello.
Didn't you get that?
No, I
So
didn't. I was trying to think
the
about 10.
jazz.
Cherokee is another
We're
good
gonna
one.
do that next. All of these popular standards were deliberately picked in, there's 30 of them in Jazz Fake Book #1, another 30 in Jazz Fake Book #2. If you want to get up and you want to start jamming with people, you got to learn how to comp the chords.
Or just go to the channel and go
Or
to
go
the
to the
100
channel.
songs that are in, everything. We have Charlie Parker songs. We have
Plus, quickly tell them about in the channel your jazz song, 6-part jazz song learning system.
Well, again, just from questions from students, we developed, really you and I, last time I was down here, we developed a way to learn jazz songs. It first starts by learning the chords. And what I did was I came up with a chord guide, because a lot of times you look at lead sheets in jazz books and it's E flat major 7 with a sharp 11 to a D minor 7 flat 5 with a suspended. I don't even know those chords. So what we have to do is determine is the chord major, minor, or dominant. And I give you the chords that I actually use when I look through a piece of lead sheet. So if it says G minor 7 with a 9, I use G, this one, all the time, without that. Or C, I'll use this one, this C, or that C. The only 2 major chords that I start with. And then we go to the simple melody. And then after that, we go to a comping technique. It's a 6-part system. Like what I would do if I was comping over the tune, on the bandstand. And then embellished melody, a way to embellish the melody by adding some jazz phrasing, a different part of the fingerboard, a different octave. The 5th part, soloing, a concept on soloing that you can bring to the table for the tune. And then the 6th step is a jam. Let's jam. I play a chorus, you play a chorus, and we go back and forth. So it's been working well. People love the system too.
Yeah.
And what's great about it is if you're a beginner, you go through the chords and melody and go on to the next song.
That's right.
If you're advanced, you might go right to the soloing section.
And you've still got, at any given time, well, #1, you have a lot of completed 6-part lessons already, a couple dozen of them. But at any given time, you've got 3
running.
new songs in progress.
Right.
He'll publish a couple of parts every month, and parts 3 and 4 the next month, but parts 1 and 2 of a new tune.
Right.
I mean, you just...
Because that way you can keep learning
Right.
songs, which is
Right.
the way to learn jazz.
Right.
I mean, we want to play songs. We don't want to play
You'll see he
scales.
does have a jazz for beginners section. So, it's rare that an artist of your caliber and even an educator of your caliber would pay as much attention to beginners as you do, as well as to the more advanced players, which is like a very cool
There's
thing.
nothing more satisfying for me when I see a beginner play their first song and that smile comes on their face, because you know what? This is good stuff for
Yeah.
our head.
Yeah.
It keeps us going.
Yeah.
It keeps us positive. It keeps our mind thinking.
And it keeps jazz alive.
And it
you know?
keeps jazz alive.
Exactly. More questions for you. Okay, this is from Edward Johns. Does Frank have any tips on how to take the first steps in taking, say, a contemporary pop song and embellishing the chord progression to jazz it up?
Well,
And can you give us an example?
I don't know too many of the songs before 1980.
Can you do Uptown Funk? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I've been learning a lot of George Benson songs lately, like from the Weekend in L.A. record.
Okay.
And I think it's right? So it's like a 4-chord progression. Really. I mean, that's a Benson tune.
But
I mean,
couldn't you take your jazz chord, the stuff you teach us in the jazz chord playbook? There's melody in pop songs. There's root notes in pop songs. There's basic chords. There's
I
embellished
just don't
chords.
know any pop
Couldn't you
songs.
do that?
I just don't know any pop songs.
Okay, but is
Well,
it possible?
Let's say we
could they
take the
use that
Beatles.
okay,
Absolutely.
take the Beatles.
Let's say we take,
Take
the
the
Beatles.
Beatles.
That's the the root bass note
Okay.
with the melody. That
Okay.
already sounds pretty good.
Now Jazz just up that
So
part.
now if we look at different, instead of just a G chord, we could hit G major 7th, right? We could hit G, that one, G with the 9th in it. So we can go. See that? C major 7th. G with the 9th, as opposed to G. So we can throw colors in there. Meaning for a major, we have major 7th, major 9th, major 6th. You know, so,
so
you
your
have.
system works for pop songs,
I mean, it really does, I guess, yes.
right? Maybe we
I
should
guess
think
it
about
would.
doing
Well,
something like that.
that's a good idea.
There's a lot of people that, you know, myself
And
included,
there's a lot of
love
good songs
a lot
out
of
there,
great
but I'm only
songs.
up to 1947 with songs. I
We'll
started
get
in
you
the
there.
1600s.
I know. You can't get off Avalon, can you?
I know.
I know. Another question. Okay, here's a good one from Guitar After 50. He's from Vancouver, Washington. When you play with an upright bass and other string instruments like mandolin, is your thinking about chords different from
Yes.
what it would be with electric instruments?
Oh, well, hang on. With electric instrument.
I guess just answer the first part of it, because I think he means what you think he means. So if you're playing with a bass or other string instruments, are you voicing a little bit
Yes,
differently to
absolutely.
stay out of their way?
If I'm just doing a duo
Yeah.
and I'm playing rhythm, I'm going to be thinking. Very busy. Because I got the rhythm, the bass, the drums. I got a lot to think about.
Yep.
Now, if I have drums, doing snare drum, I have the bass, right? So we got a lot of rhythm going on. You got the lead, so I'm just going to go.
Guide
2 notes.
tones?
That's it.
Yeah.
Basically, these two strings, the D and the G string, whether it's a major 7th or a dominant 7th. Or a
What
6th.
about when you're playing with a mandolin player who's
Same
playing?
thing.
Same deal.
Yeah, same deal.
So are you just trying to stay out of their lane,
You're
so to
staying
speak,
out
and
of their
find
lane.
your little pocket,
Correct,
right?
especially when you have the bass who's going along, you have
Yeah.
the drums, you don't have to give all the, you're just going to kind of be getting in the way, and you don't want to get in the way or else you don't get the
Get
call
the
back
gig.
for the gig.
Okay, good answer.
And the other thing is we
yes.
have to remember as guitar players,
Yeah.
I got this advice from a very well-known tenor saxophone, jazz tenor saxophone,
Who?
Billy Mitchell, who's
Okay.
now passed away, but he told me, when in doubt, lay out. And you know what? If you bring that philosophy to the jam session, you're going to be in good shape.
So describe that a little bit. So you're at the jam session, could be a blues session or a jazz session,
Right.
and the tempo's a little too quick,
And
or
you
you're
don't
not
know
following
quite
the changes.
what to play.
Right.
Lay out for a second. Let everything gel together, and then find your place
Nice.
in this circle.
Nice.
This little sliver is yours. You
Yeah.
just have to find how to fit it in.
Great.
When in doubt, lay out.
When in doubt, lay out.
Right.
We should do a T-shirt like that. Huh?
Yeah, that's a
Like
good
that.
T-shirt.
Another couple of questions. This one's from Kim. What's the best way to solo over altered chords? And I know you and I have talked about what an
Well,
altered chord really is. But
First, we have to know the triad.
uh-huh.
1, 3, 5. And then you add your 4th tone. That's an altered chord. If you see G major 9, that's a 5-note chord. Right?
What about a flat 5 chord?
Huh?
Flat 5 or flat 9?
You got to get your chord tones first of the altered chord so you know what you're dealing with. You know, landing on the altered note at the end of your phrase is another great way to play over altered chords. I mean, a good way is to get the chord. Say it's a G major 7 with a sharp 11. Play a scale leading up to that chord. If There's a dominant 7th with the sharp 11. You could use whole tone. Right? So I guess the key is knowing all the chord tones, especially the triad, and then the colors that lead up to that alteration, and then play a scale or an idea landing on that alteration. Again, a lot what we talked about in soloing in this course, almost every track, it was you have to know where you're going. You have to know what the next chord is, and then what the important tones are. Because if you're playing along, and you could play any of the 12 notes, and if you land on the right tone of the next chord, your idea is going to work.
So even if it's a flat 5, if you land on that flat 5, you should be okay.
Yes,
right?
but you have to know it's coming.
Okay.
So you need to look ahead.
Yeah.
You need to know the chords to the song.
Okay. Good answer, man. Another quick one. And a very, very common question. And I know you get this question a lot in the channel, and you've answered it, I don't know how many dozens of times with different examples. But one of the biggest, I think, challenges that most, let's call it beginner or 201 jazz players have is they're told, learn your arpeggios, learn your chord tones. But how do you leverage that without sounding like you're playing arpeggios? So his question, George's question, how do I come from an arpeggio to a melodic solo? And what he's saying is, how do I not? And he says, for example, a tune like Fly Me to the Moon, okay?
Okay.
If you want to use that as a way to demonstrate.
Okay, first of all, we have to know what the tones in between the chord tones are.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially the chromatic scale, the mother scale, if you will, because all the scales and everything is derived from 12 notes, the chromatic scale. So if we have, there's your arpeggio, your minor 7th, 1, 3, 5, 7. So right there, you could start to even develop. You see that? Right, landing on the chord tone. So if we go. Hear that? You can hear the chord changes going on. So I'm using arpeggios, I'm using neighboring tones, I'm using chromatics, but always landing on one of those arpeggio tunes. A great concept is to play a scale and then end with an arpeggio. You hear
Nice.
that?
Yeah.
See that? Scale, arpeggio. Arpeggio, then scale. You see that? Between the chromatic scale, the different scale types I was using, and mixing it with arpeggios, then you start to make nice ideas.
Melodic solos,
Correct.
like he's asking.
Where you're not just going.
Right. That's right.
That's
Yeah.
what I think people want to get out
absolutely. And not so coincidentally, these courses we're showing off today that you shot this week, usually that's where you're taking us in the
Correct.
next solo, is introducing chromatics or neighbor tones, which is a chromatic tone,
Correct, yeah.
right? And showing us how to kind of jazz up the melody a little bit.
of. Embellished melody.
Exactly. So
Step 4 of the jazz song
you did
learning
really
system.
good answering all of those questions. Amazing.
I feel really good that I've had to field so many questions.
I know.
And I love it because I actually know what I'm
you've
talking about for a
become
change.
An even better teacher because of that channel.
There's no doubt about it. I love it. I wake up
You're
every day and that I get out of bed, like grab my little Gibson guitar at the kitchen table
Yeah.
and hardly wait to see what the questions
Yeah,
are.
I know. I love it, man. It's great.
exciting.
Just great
Yeah.
job. Those the links to the channel are in this chat thread. You got to check it out. You just have
What
to
the heck?
check it out. Let's do Cherokee from Volume 1 of the Soloing Fakebook.
This is going to be riff based, like taking a riff.
Based. But I have a
almost-
special request.
Yes.
A little stutter picking in this. I love
Okay,
that
good.
technique of yours.
Good, okay.
You guys will know exactly what this is when you hear it.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Ending with an arpeggio.
Beauty. Thank you for the stutter picking. A couple of people were asking about, if they're in all. First of all, you had several channel students on there raving about the channel,
Great.
giving you props
Thank
on
you.
that. And a lot of folks were asking about, if I'm an all access student, does that include the channel? And it does not, okay? The channel features all of those 1,100 or whatever videos are all self-published videos that Frank does on his own, in his own studio.
Three camera views,
The
the whole
bulk
nine
of
yards.
the $10 goes to Frank, okay? And we just felt it was really important to build a platform for artists. This is an important thing for artists to do today, to be able to produce content out of their home, not have to go to a session, not have to wait 3 months to get into a studio. The All Access includes all 40,000 of our lessons, all of our courses, but this is something that's really between like you and Frank. And we're thrilled to be able to build a platform to help make that happen. And I think you'll find that $10 will be well worth the price of admission there.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to address that. Also, a couple of other questions. I love this question, Frank. This is from Lorenzo, and he's asking, how can we develop psychological strength on stage on every occasion? You know, that confidence that you need to kind of, especially in jazz, you know?
I can completely relate to this question, first of all. First of all, I think you have to choose material that you know really well, your best songs. The worst feeling, and I say this from experience, is thinking, oh, this new song's going to kill him. And you practice it and you practice it. And then you get out there, and especially if you open with it, and it's just not working. That's a bad thing for your confidence. So I always start every show with a song that I know really well, that's not too difficult, that I can concentrate on the sound, look out at the audience, try to engage them, smile a little bit, because I know the song so well. The other thing I've come to realize in my 50 years now of playing and 40 years of performing is there is nothing better than having a band that you can rely on. Meaning that you know that you can sit on an airplane for 10 hours, get all your stuff, get in a van and drive 2 hours to some venue, whoever knows where, and you know that that band is going to be right on. That gives you confidence. There's power in numbers, and that's why great bands that are together for a long time, there's no secret to why they sound so good. You got to find people that have good musical chemistry, good personal chemistry, and then develop your act. Play out as much as possible. I mean, the act I have now with my touring partner, Vinny Raniolo, I mean, we have played 10,000 shows together almost. 10,000 hours anyway. We played over 2,000 shows together. So we know that we can have a certain repertoire that we can go to, that we can play while we're sleeping. I mean, there are times when I'm playing and I'm thinking about, you know, something completely that is so unrelated to the music.
Probably your channel.
Right. Is there another subscriber? Is there another subscriber? So it's a great question, and I think you have to have confidence in the music you're playing and in the people you're playing with. The nerves, they're always going to be there. The way I combat that is my first number is a real easy one.
That's a very good point. And what do you suggest, say, you know, for someone just kind of getting onto the jazz scene? He's got he doesn't have a gig, he doesn't have a band, but he's going to those local jams, okay? So they're probably going to be calling out some of the popular standards you just talked about,
Take
right?
the A Train, any Ellington songs.
Any of the ones in your fake books, they're likely going to call out.
Yep.
What advice do you have for them? Just comp,
Play light. Don't play too loud. Turn the amp down. Because there's nothing worse than a guitar player is too loud. How do you
And
get
the
a
same
guitar
thing-
player to turn down his amplifier? You
Yeah.
put music in front of him. No. But seriously, don't play too loud. I find a lot of guitar players, first of all, they put their amp right here, right? So the amp's right next to them. The sound's 10 feet in front of them. How are they going to hear what the amp really sounds like? You need that amp behind you, and you need to tilt it up so you're hearing the amp.
Here, I have to read you this. Okay. Frank is like, every day I get a text or an email or a phone call about Frank. He really, truly does love his channel. That's like all he thinks about. But this is from Bean42.
Bean42.
Okay. I can't believe I've been a member of Frank's channel for about a year, and every day there's some new and interesting, always getting new ideas. There you go.
Well, thanks to a lot of your questions. And he's a fine player, and I've seen him grow the past few workshops we've had.
I've seen a few of your students grow, man.
Well, how about that kid Henry Acker? He's been my student there. He's 15. He's all over the world now.
I know. It's crazy.
I told him, if you ever need a rhythm guy, let me know. Huh?
I know. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping. All right, on the trivia question. The trivia question was, what with what legendary artist did Frank play with every Monday night in New York City for 5 years? If you weren't tuned in earlier, you know, a few folks did give away the answer. So we're going to give away the answer and give you a chance to enter that drawing. And the answer is?
Can I say it?
You can say
Les Paul.
Okay, so Les Paul is the correct answer. Underneath the video is a link to where you would answer that question. And in a few minutes, we're going to pick a winner out of there and award
great.
a $100 gift card. So how about we do one more tune? We've run over, but man, people have been hanging tough and
Okay,
really
good.
digging
I'm
what
here.
you're
I'm
doing.
not going anywhere.
So thank you for staying tuned in. And we're going to play one more tune for you. Early Autumn.
Nice ballad.
A nice ballad.
Now
You are the ballad
I
man.
love ballads.
No doubt
but
about it.
if I didn't play with Les Paul all those years, there's no way I would know how to
I
play
know.
a
I've
ballad
heard you
the way
say
I
that
do
before,
now.
man. And so your theme on this is kind of expression and
Expression.
cascading chords.
Right.
And talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so this progression goes down in half steps. Major seventh to dominant seventh to major seventh. That's kind of the progression. So I started here with this nice little line, and then I eventually used cascading chords as my solo, a la Johnny Smith. So if you roll the track, we'll show you what we mean here.
One, two, one, two.
Start with one note. Little vibrato just to squeeze more sustain. Now a sharp 9, flat 9. Okay, now we add the cascading. Sounds like a recording. All good tone. Bridge, same concept. Right, so I took this line and then I added a chord. Down a whole step. And then I just follow those. You can hold it down and go up picking. That's tricky. Blues.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's a great
That's based
song.
on what song people are asking?
Early Autumn.
Early
is
Autumn.
the name of the song,
Okay.
and that's one of the ones in the rhythm guitar fake book,
Yeah.
and we did that soloing.
Yeah. So let's
know,
point that out again. So we have, because it's a little confusing, but
Plus, I went
Frank-
very quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Frank did 2 editions of the jazz fake book. Each one of those fake books has 30 jazz standards in it, but just the rhythm parts alone. Usually 3 choruses, a really basic chorus, 1 a little more embellished, and then 1 just like he would
Comping
play,
along, right.
comping. What we're doing is we're taking the first 10 of volume 1 rhythm fake book, and we're doing 10 solos, also with 3 choruses, kind of basic, a little more embellished, and then
3,
all
yeah,
out.
3 levels.
And so we'll have 3 companions, 10 solos each for the first rhythm fake book. And we also did, we
10.
did 2 of those.
Right.
And then we'll finish the 3rd one when you're here, and then 3 more for fake book number 2.
Correct. So they'll be complete companions to the rhythm fake.
Right. So you'll have,
8
all
courses
in
in
all,
all.
you'll have at the end of this, which should be, we'll finish this up hopefully in February.
Yeah.
And then, in the months to follow, we'll launch them. But you'll have 60 very popular jazz standards.
Mm-hmm.
Simple comping approaches, more
Beginning
embellished.
comping.
Call it simple, intermediate, and advanced comping approaches for 60 tunes, and same thing for soloing.
Right.
So you take something like that. I mean, I've heard you play ballads as simply but as beautifully and tastefully as that.
Right.
And I'm just reflecting that many of us that may not have your chops, we could definitely take that tune on.
Yes,
and
there's no doubt.
and learn,
No doubt.
that melody and work on that and get in the game. And that's what I love about you is, it's not about showing off your chops and doing blazing stuff. Everything is tasty. Even when you pull out the stops, it's just tasty stuff. Frank is, you want to connect with a teacher and really get a grip on the jazz thing. This is way to go, whether it's private lessons with him, any of his 30 courses here, or his channel.
Even in
Did
the
we talk
channel.
about the channel yet?
No, I mean, I don't think people take advantage enough of the channel, to be
No.
honest with you,
I
because you
know.
could essentially take private lessons with me through
I
the
know,
channel
I
if
know.
you don't mind everybody seeing it.
It's just such a new thing.
Yeah,
It's sort of
that's
like
what
when
it
we
is.
started doing the, courses. Now
Right.
it's kind of established, but
Right.
God, you already have 500 subscribers.
I know, 507 now,
So,
which is great.
It's just spreading the word. So I want to thank, we have to tell everybody about the guitar. Okay. A lot of folks are asking about that, that particular guitar. So
19, this is your guitar, so maybe
Yeah.
you should tell them a little
Well,
about it.
it's D'Angelico. I think they call it an ES 330 or,
Something.
kind of, it's the
XL
D'Angelico.
30.
It's thin body. Hold it up so they can see
Yeah,
the.
it's a great size.
And someone mentioned that, they can't find that on the D'Angelico site today. And I will tell you, D'Angelico, the folks at D'Angelico, who we're very, very friendly with, have done a phenomenal job of reviving the D'Angelico brand. They have arch tops, they have thin body jazz guitars like this, they have a lot of electric guitars, and they're very, very serious about making quality instruments and providing, all affordable alternatives.
Yes.
This particular guitar there was a very short period of time when the original D'Angelico kind of no longer made guitars. And there was, I think the story is, a Japanese billionaire was a jazz guitar freak, put together a small group of craftsmen there and started to make some D'Angelico instruments for a very short period of time. And we bought a New Yorker and we bought this one as well. And this one, they have something very similar to this. I haven't played it, but I'll bet you it's darn good. But this one's a beauty,
I
isn't
love
it?
this guitar, yeah.
And I forget
Flat
what the
wound
model number.
strings.
Yeah, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
And so the only person who plays that is Frank. We keep it in a hermetically sealed display
Love it.
case
That's
and
it.
unlock it only when Frank comes to town.
Never had to change the strings in, what, 8 years now? And
Yeah.
it still sounds great.
So you told him about flat wound strings. What about the setup? Is the action high or low?
The action is pretty high.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's really high, unplayable, but I like my action with a little feel in it. Sometimes when the action's too low, I can't feel the wood. So that's why I like the little higher action on this.
Even on the Thorell, you'd play a
Even
higher
on the
action?
Thorell, yes.
Yeah. So you have
I wouldn't call it high, but a little higher than
a
right
little
off the
higher
finger.
than normal.
Yes.
Not like, a
Not
rocker's
not
action.
Freddie Green
Right.
high, which his action was that high off the finger.
And, I know that you play Thorell, and we love Thorell, and
Yeah,
what a guitar
Eastman,
he makes.
yeah.
But Eastman has made a signature guitar
Well, they
for you.
licensed the Thorell design.
Right. And it is a beautiful,
love that
beautiful guitar.
guitar. That's
They're
my
taking
travel
you.
guitar.
Did you say you're going to China
It looks
with them?
like we're going to go to China for the first time for Eastman,
Okay.
do some workshops and
Yeah.
a couple concerts. So I'm very excited about that. I'm
That's
going to see
big.
them in February. We're going to do some filming at their custom shop
Yeah.
in Pomona, California.
Yeah.
Because Eastman now gets the parts from China, but they assemble all those beautiful
Yeah.
guitars right in California.
They are also
They've come a long
someone that I
way.
would consider being a very, very serious guitar maker that pays a lot of attention to quality and craftsmanship. I
And
know
the price
they've-
is right. I mean, you
the
can't go
price is
wrong.
terrific. And today, there used to be, like we were coming up, you wouldn't buy a guitar from overseas. You wouldn't, But
Usually-
today, due to kind of technology and
Yeah.
and design, there's some awesome instruments coming
And the
in.
guy running it now, all the guitars, is Otto D'Ambrosio, who was John Monteleone's apprentice. So this guy knows what he's doing. In some ways, I like the new Eastman better than the original Thorell. It's a little more like a traditional arch top with the straight Johnny Smith pickup made by Seymour Duncan, which is my favorite pickup. And that guitar, you put it on a plane, even if they put it underneath and
Yeah.
you take it out, it's basically in tune, feels great.
Yeah.
So, no
Yeah,
complaints.
we love Eastman, and they're really, really good people too to work with.
Great.
You can, isn't it always about the people? If they're passionate and they're good people, they're going to make a good product,
yeah,
right?
there's no doubt.
So while you probably won't be able to get your hands on this particular D'Angelico, go check out some of the good. We've been in their shop. We've played
York,
some of their
yeah.
instruments, and they're really, really
Fabulous. Absolutely.
really good. Of course, Thorell. If you've got the bucks, have him make you guitar. That kid is. I call him a kid. How old is he?
35. He's
Okay,
still
he's a
a kid,
kid
yeah,
to
but
me,
but
But he
for
is-
all the hours he puts in building an instrument, he's
a
probably
master,
getting 50 cents an hour.
Exactly.
Because
and I'll tell you this: you pick up a guitar today from him, it's going to be worth 10 times as much.
And I
Kind of
wanna
like
tell you
Buscarino. What happened
He
with Buscarino?
he is building better than ever.
Yeah,
The guitars I've seen lately
Every
are
guitar
just
they make just advances the craft for
Unbelievable,
them. And then Eastman, if you're looking for an arch top, have a look at that Frank
Yeah.
Vignola signature or any
or
of
any
the
of
other
the
guitars
Eastmans,
they
really.
have over there.
The
They're-
only thing you got to do when you buy a guitar, especially if you're buying it through the internet, is make sure there's a 7-day return policy.
yeah.
Because it could be the greatest guitar in the world, but not right for you. It just doesn't feel right to
Right.
you. You know what? You don't want to buy a guitar that doesn't feel right.
Nope.
So make sure it's got a return policy.
Let's thank everyone, Frank. I mean, hundreds of people have
Yeah, this
stayed
is
live
great.
with us. We're a half an hour over,
love
so
it. Okay.
apparently they dug what you were sharing with them. I thank you for carving out an hour and a half to do
Likewise.
this thing with us.
Anytime.
I know
Anytime.
we have a little more work to do. I think we've got to do the trailers for the courses.
Well, better hurry
But,
up because it's my bedtime soon.
Pick any tune and play us out. You can pick one from here with a track or something
see
solo, whatever you want to do. Oh, wait. We need to pick the winner.
Oh,
So while you're playing us out, we will have someone pick the winner of the $100 gift card. The correct answer was Les Paul, and we'll look for the winner here. Go for it. And thank you, everyone.